The age splash is an interesting one, Ollie, and I'm interested in your thoughts on this. No vaccine, no work on COVID-19 frontline. Public sector aged care workers in Victoria who have not been vaccinated against COVID-19 will be stood down from frontline duties to prevent the latest outbreak from reaching the state's most vulnerable people. Now, of course, we saw a major Queensland airline come out today and say that it would not be employing people who didn't have the jab. And, of course, we've got airlines like Qantas giving away huge incentives to people who buy tickets who have been vaccinated. There's a big push on the front of the Northern Territory News. There's a plea for all Northern Territorians to get vaccinated. Do you agree that employers should have the right to ensure mandatory vaccination of their employees?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely, I do. And I think it's got to help get to that level of 70 or 80% vaccination take-up. And if there's obviously going to be people within an organisation that won't be able to get the vaccination for particular medical purposes, we'll get your GP to tell you that. Otherwise, I personally don't have an issue with it being mandated as part of your employment that you require the vaccination. I think that there may have sort of been a corner turned, Gleeso, in the last couple of days amongst the Australian public in regards to vaccine hesitancy. And this is just more of a gut feel. And again, the feedback I'm receiving on the talkback line, I think what's happening in Victoria may have just hurried a few people along who might have been sitting on the fence for a little while about the vaccination and thinking, I better roll up my sleeve and get it done. If you can appeal to someone's civic duty to get it done. And as somebody said to me last week, Gleeso, and I get the flu jab every year. What brand of flu jab do you get? I have absolutely no idea. I've never even looked at it. I've never even asked the question. Maybe this is part of the mistake that we've made, telling the public you're getting AstraZeneca or Pfizer. You're just getting the coronavirus vaccination. Full stop.
Full stop. Let's go to the Courier Mail. Now, the splash, of course, is home turf advantage, confirmed first origin in Queensland. But I want to talk about this 4-year wage freeze for the state's MPs. It's been scrapped, with the pay packets of politicians to be boosted by thousands of dollars over the next 18 months. MPs will get a 2% pay increase from September. Then they'll get another 2.25% in March. And, of course, that means that for a backbencher, their salary will go from about $159 to about $170. The Premier, her salary will go from about $400 to $427. Look, there was a public sector wage freeze at the start of the pandemic because it was felt that was appropriate. Austerity was obviously a big part of the government's go forward. I don't think the public particularly go for big pay increases for politicians at a time when a lot of people remain struggling as a result of the COVID pandemic.
No, this is ridiculous. This does not pass the pub test. No way in the world. You've got state debt in Queensland totalling more than $100 billion these days. And think about all of those people that particularly work in the entertainment industry, Gleeso, that have maybe had 1, 2 or 3 gigs over the last year. If you were doing the AV or the lighting for big gigs or big fun runs even, you've seen next to nothing over the last year. And here's your state government just giving all the pollies a little bit more in their pay packet every week. That completely stinks. Anastasia Palaszczuk should come out tomorrow morning and say, we reject this. We're going to freeze our salaries for 4 more years, just like we'll ask our public servants in Queensland as well to freeze their salaries for 4 more years or cap them at 1% or $1,000 or whatever you've got to do. Don't take a pay rise right now. What an awful look for a Premier to be taking home more money while we're still battling this pandemic. That's a big loss. That's a ridiculous decision.